here?
No, it says it's working. It says that it's live and working. So,
Okay.
all right.
Usually about 2 meg is a minimum for getting any sort of uninterrupted, uninterrupted.
We'll start soon. Oh yeah, welcome to our home. Sharon, get a scratch sheet of paper.
Do you need something bigger than that? Yeah.
Anything else? All right, so we'll go ahead and get started soon in a couple minutes. I definitely hear you on goddess pose and extended side plank and obliques. But yeah, we'll give you a few more minutes. If anyone else starts to come in, let us know what you want to work on here today. Check on yours that you can hear me. Hey, Eliza. T loves you right back. Michael here. Awesome. Yeah. So lateral stretches, you just mean like side body stretches? Like obliques, lats, that type of stuff? Fallen triangle. I got you, Sarah. All right. All right, so I'm gonna come back from the other side of this camera and we'll go ahead and get started. So yeah, I got the lateral stretches. I'm assuming they're sort of side body focused, obliques, fallen triangle, goddess, and extended side plank. So we'll get them all in there. Absolutely, Melissa. Pleasure to be here. All right. All right, so thanks for joining us. Pleasure to represent Orlando Power Yoga here on their Facebook. My name's Tyler. If you've never taken one of my classes, welcome. This is my wife, Katie. So don't worry about the social proximity. We share a home and a 4-month-old daughter together, so we're good. We'll get started in child's pose or a cross-legged seated position. All right, 75 minutes of power yoga coming at you here. All right, but before we get started, right, can you take a moment just to kind of get settled, right? To move in whichever way you need to, whether it's like shaking out your arms, rolling your head a few times side to side. Right, if you're cross-legged and seated like me, I recommend taking your hands, placing them on your hips, and really just kind of pushing the hips down into the mat, feeling a bit grounded there, and then resting the hands wherever they want to. If you're in child's pose, maybe you want to fan the fingers out and press the hips a little further back over the heels. Right, and then once you've shifted and gotten settled, just allow yourself to take a moment to pause. Right, not trying to change whatever's going on or even jump into that deep breath quite yet. Just checking in and observing whatever it is that you're bringing to the mat. Right, noting any specific circumstances, emotions, thoughts, feelings that might be showing up for you right now. And can we create a holding space for them? Just developing an awareness of how that feels. And then from that awareness, just noting whatever is, can we now start to shift our attention to the breath? Whether your eyes are softly opened or closed, can you keep your lips gently closed? And just start to observe what it's like to breathe fully in through the nose as your full body fills up. And then to breathe out through the nose, really pulling the belly button back towards the spine, completely exhale. Right, and as the mind starts to plan and judge and worry and kind of be concerned about what's coming next, can you allow yourself just to stay grounded in the breath here for now? Maybe even taking a moment to honor the fact that you've shown up here and that you're doing something for yourself. A few more breaths here. As you slowly start to deepen the breath and build that complete inhale and exhale, pay special attention to the cadence of it, right, to the speed of it. Ideally, we're going to keep managing and coming back to this speed of breath throughout the practice, so paying special attention to what it's like here in stillness. All right, Right, and then whether you're in child's pose or you're in that seated Sukhasana like I am, let's all take a big breath in together, and then a loud breath out the mouth. Awesome. So tabletop pose is where we'll arrive next. Tabletop pose, we're going to allow the hands to drive under the shoulders, the knees, we're going to place them under the hips and really fan the fingers out. Thumb, index, middle finger, knuckle, press into the earth. Hug the forearms in together slightly without locking out the elbows. And then from here, just kind of nod the head side to side. Feel the crown of the head move towards the front of the mat. And then maybe kind of wag the tail a little bit side to side. Feel the tailbone descend towards the back of the mat or move towards the back of the mat. Awesome. And then once you've kind of created that space in between each individual vertebra, on your next exhale, press into a cat pose, right? So press into your palms, look in and up towards your belly button and round in the mid-back. Inhale, drop the belly as you look up and find cat. Awesome. And then exhale, press, arching rounded into cat. And then we'll do a few cats and cows, just moving on your speed and moving with your breath, right? And like a lot of you know, your intention or your intuition, I believe, is really important here too, right? So if intuitively you feel like moving a little bit more side to side or maybe rolling around and creating circles over the wrists, right? You're just moving whichever way you need to right now, warming up as we flex and extend the spine. See if you can't keep those lips still gently closed, not clenching the jaw, in and out through the nose. All right, finishing up the last few rounds here, cat, cat, and then eventually meeting back in tabletop. And then from tabletop pose, we'll tuck the toes under and we'll float the knees right above the mat. All right, so keep hugging those forearms in slightly together. We're not locking out the elbows. And then from here, bring your right knee to your right elbow, tap. Come back to that floating tabletop, left knee, left elbow, tap. And then keep tapping elbow to knee, alternating side to side. All right, feeling the obliques start to engage, feeling that pelvis remain in neutral to lengthen the spine. Here we are for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to that floating tabletop pose, knees just off the mat. And then from there, downward facing dog. Very nice. First downward facing dog, right? So we're bending knees, we're pumping chest, we're moving and wound in whichever way you need to. All right, some of you like to crack the toes. And then just kind of walking out that first downward facing dog. Very nice. And then once you feel settled, let's find that still downward facing dog. Right, so drive the entire hand into the earth. Feel the heels or watch the heels disappear behind the toes. That slight internal rotation of the thighs. Very nice, and then from there, really push the chest towards the toes. All right, awesome. So from this downward facing dog, on your inhale, roll it into a high plank pose. On your exhale, lower down, find chaturanga, hold. Back into your high plank, and then side plank. Left hand down, heels drop towards the left, right arm reaches up towards the sky. All right, so digging into these obliques a little early today. Right, from here, from this side plank, let's take extended side plank. So reach that top arm up and over. Feel how that allows a little bit more contraction in the left oblique, and then that big, long lateral stretch down the right side of the body. Inhale that right arm back to the sky, and then come back into your high plank pose. From your high plank pose, exhale, lower down, chaturanga, hold. Back into your high plank, and then take side plank on the opposite side. Right hand down, left heels, or heels drop towards the right. Reaching that left arm high towards the sky. Very nice. Use that whole hand, really lift from the oblique, and then we'll go extended side plank. And try not to shrug that left ear up towards the shoulder. Still keep that bicep kind of floating over the ear, not connected to it. One more big inhale here, and then reach back up into side plank, back into high plank. From high plank, exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale into upward facing dog, and then exhale into downward facing dog. Very nice. From downward facing dog, slowly unplug your hands, walk them towards the back of the mat, and we'll find ragdoll pose. So in ragdoll pose, Katie's grabbing opposite elbows, bouncing up and down. You can keep the arms heavy and just kind of sway side to side. And you can also just hold stillness. But wherever you are, maintain that soft bend in the knees, rest the upper body onto the thighs.
paying special attention here, not only to letting go of physical tension, kind of turning into jello, right? But also letting go of the expectation for your practice, potentially letting go of any sort of agenda you have for the day, right? And what might be a little bit more difficult, but also really useful, maybe giving yourself permission for the next 70 odd minutes to let go of any sort of worry for the circumstances we all find ourselves in. Right? Just connecting to the body, kind of coming home to the practice. Alright, so with that possibility in mind, take another big breath in and a big breath out. Awesome. Hands lower down to the mat if they aren't already. Toe heel the big toes together, a little gap between the heels. And then with the arms heavy, let's just roll up like zombies. Right, eventually, shoulders stack over hips, draw the shoulders back, and then reverse swan dive it up, land into that first Tadasana pose. Right, so lifting up all 10 toes, re-stretching them onto the earth, internally rotating the thighs slightly, and then really tuck the pelvis forward, right? You're gonna hear me say that a whole bunch, but it's really important for the practice. Big inhale as you look up in between the palms, and then as you exhale, lower hands down to heart center. Right, and this is where we check in and identify an intention for the practice. Right, so you've here, you've showed up. Right, what do you need out of the practice? Right, what do you want to let go of? Whatever it is, can you dedicate this practice towards creating or letting go of something? Right, and then from that place of intention and possibility, take a big, massive breath in, and a big, full breath out. Reach up, find Tadasana. And then exhale, forward fold, back of the mat for a slow swan dive into it. We'll walk ourselves back out into a high plank pose, right? Holding high plank pose here. And then from high plank pose, we'll find forearm plank. So drop the elbows down where the hands just were. Right? And I recommend setting your gaze in between your forearms or the front edge of your mat. But you're not looking too far forward and you're not looking up and down, right? We want to in and up. We want to keep the neck long on the four sides of it. All right, so pressing down firmly through the palms, holding it here, dragging elbows to toes and toes to elbows. Really stoking a lot of that core strength early in practice here today. Right, from your forearm plank, come back into your high plank. From your high plank, exhale, lower down chaturanga. Inhale into upward facing dog, and then exhale into downward facing dog. Very nice. From there, inhale high onto the balls of your feet. Bend your knees, step or float. Find the top of your mat with a halfway lift. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, find Tadasana pose. Exhale, forward fold. Find in some classic sun A's here. Halfway lift on your inhale. And then on your exhale, you can step back into high plank. Exhale, lower down chaturanga. Inhale into up dog. And exhale into down dog. Right? If you have a different vinyasa practice and you want to add on chin stands, chaturangas, add on. If you want to skip them all together, step back to down dog whenever I call them out, right? Make this practice what you need. Inhale high onto the balls of your feet, bend your knees, step or float, halfway lift top of your mat. On your exhale, forward fold. Root down, rise up, Tadasana is where you land. Exhale, forward fold, starting to find that rhythm, halfway lift. And then exhale, hands lower down, hopping or stepping back. Inhaling into up dog, exhaling into downward facing dog. Not rushing that sequence, right? One breath, one movement there. Inhale high, knees bend, step float, halfway lift top of your mat. Exhale, forward fold. Root down, rise up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Hands lower down, body moves through. Always that destination of down dog in my classes when a vinyasa is called out. Taking some ownership of the flow you need. Inhale high, knees bend, step float, halfway lift. Exhale, refold. Root down, rise up. Exhale, keep it moving. Halfway lift, strong long core. Exhale, hands lower down. Keep the elbows close to the body through that vinyasa sequence so we can protect the rotator cuffs there. Keep it moving. Inhale high, knees bend, step float, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Root to rise. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Hands lower down, body moves through. Step or float. Keep the whole hand connected. There you go. All right, one more. Inhale high, knees bend, step float, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Tadasana pose. One more from here. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Hands lower, body moves through. Awesome. Inhale high, knees bend, step float, travel to the top, half lift. Exhale, refold, rise up, mountain pose. Very nice. From mountain pose, look down towards your toes. Make sure big toes are touching. There's that little gap between the heels. And then from standing, can you hug your inner thighs in together? And then like you're holding that piece of paper, drop it down. Very nice. Right, like you're holding that stimulus check that's coming to us, right? In between your knees. Hug those knees in towards one another. Right, shift the hips a little further back. Make sure all 10 toes are visible. And then set your gaze towards that front edge of your mat. Relaxing your shoulders from your ears. Sink low. Sink low. Big breath in. Exhale, fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. Hands lower down, right? Find that vinyasa or step back to down dog. Right? Practice is yours, make it so. From here, toe heel the feet together. Inhale, right leg to the sky. Bend the knee, open the hip. Right, and then just kind of swirl around in that right leg. Right, maybe you want to get that right knee a little high and kind of shift the right shoulder a little higher. Okay, very nice. Awesome. Lower that right leg down. Inhale, left leg to the sky. Same option there, just to kind of feel out that left hip. Open up the hip flexor and side body a little bit, moving around in whichever way you need to. Very nice. All right, lower that left leg down. Inhale, right leg to the sky. And then exhale, knee to nose, come into that strong core plank. Inhale, heel to the sky. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, heel to the sky. Exhale, knee to nose. Maybe you need a forehead. Inhale, heel to the sky. Listen carefully. Right knee, right elbow. Right knee, left elbow. Now falling triangle. Extend through that right leg, right foot, right hand in line with one another. And then push that heart higher towards the sky or ceiling. Breathe. Right, keep that pinky toe edge of the left foot rooted into the earth. Right, really externally rotate that right arm. Rolling the bicep towards the front of the mat. Take one more big breath in here. And then lower that left hand down. Inhale, right leg back to the sky. Very nice. And then from there, step into warrior one. Right foot steps forward. Right, no rush. Left heel spins down. And then pull that energy up through the soles of the feet as you let the arms reach up towards the sky. Breathe. Awesome. Mindful that you're not gripping the mat with your toes. All right, toes are soft. Four corners of the feet root down. And then from there, open into warrior two. Setting your gaze towards that right middle finger. Right, strong pelvis tucks under the hips as you engage the core. And then from there, reach forward, flick the palm. Peaceful warrior, reaching that right arm up and out of the right hip. And if you want to take that left arm down the left leg, that's great for support. If you want to wrap around and grab the right inner thigh, by all means. One more big breath in here. And then exhale, windmill the hands down to the earth. Right foot steps or floats back. Vinyasa is the option. Down dog's the destination. All right, from there, inhale, left leg to the sky. And then exhale, knee to nose, strong core plank. Inhale, heel to sky. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, heel to sky. Exhale, knee to nose, maybe even forehead, holding it here. Inhale, heel to sky. Left knee, left elbow. Over to the right elbow. Fallen triangle pose. Extend, and then big expressive opening into that fallen triangle. All right, big wide base of the triangle too. Make sure that that left foot is moving up towards that front edge of the mat. Breathe. All right, external rotation of that rooted left arm. So like your left thumb, right, if you're moving it counterclockwise on the mat, feel that opening in the chest as you look up. And then on your exhale, right hand lowers down. Inhale, left leg back to the sky. Stepping into warrior one, left side. Awesome. Right, power in that right leg. Soft in the toes. Right, soften the face as well. Relaxing any tension behind the eyes. And then open into warrior two. All right, mindful if you're leaning forward already, right? Stay in this warrior two for a moment. Shoulders stack over hips. Right, then we'll reach forward. Palm flips and we'll find peaceful warrior. Right, whether you're coming into the half bind or a different expression is up to you. Right, but let's open up that intercostal space in the left side body with one massive inhale. And then let's exhale and windmill the hands down to the earth. And then find that flow. Very nice. From here, inhale high onto the balls of the feet. Knees bend, step or float, chair pose, top of the mat. All right, maybe the fingertips scrape. Beautiful. All right, inner thighs hug in, right? Hold on to that stimulus check. All right, shift weight back into the heels. All right, and then from here, we'll find iron footstool by reaching the arms forward, then pinching the shoulder blades together behind you, right? Tucking the pelvis forward from there, right? Tailbone kind of wants to duck out, right? Let's tuck forward, having that discipline there, and then come up high onto the balls of the feet. All right, stacking shoulders over hips, we'll begin to sink all the way down until we find Navasana. Once the tailbone hits down, heart pulls high, legs can stay straight or bend your knees, right? But if staying straight with the legs hunches you in your spine, grab behind your knees, right? It's about keeping the spine long, core engaged, and body honest here, right? If you're in a more classic Navasana or boat pose, maybe reach those arms out, but still pinch the shoulder blades together behind you from your high boat pose or low boat pose. And then swim kick your legs for 10, 9, 8, forehead towards the ceiling, fingertips towards the foot of the mat, low back down, 4, 3, 2, 1, high boat pose, right? Difficult movement, right? Honor the body. You need to hug behind the legs, you need to hug behind the legs. Low boat pose again, and we'll crisscross the ankles for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back up into boat pose. Very nice. I need a break, so I'm gonna hug behind the hamstrings, right? And then re-extend back with a vengeance and lower down into low boat. And then from here, just click the heels. 10, 9, slow clicks. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees into your chest. Very nice. Let's let a big breath in. And then stick out your tongue, bulge your eyes. Very nice. One more of those. Let something go. Cool. So what we'll do here is we'll begin to rock and roll, right? So from the shoulders to the heels, eventually gaining enough momentum to maybe rock into a chair pose, or maybe you need to use your hands to get there. Right, very nice. Awesome. In your chair pose, take one more big inhale. And then as you exhale, stand up. Take a moment to connect to true north. All right, so palms open towards the front of the mat, shoulder blades roll down and away from the ears. Keeping the lips gently closed. Maybe bringing that soft smile to the face. And just taking a moment to observe what's showing up on the mat. Now feeling that energy swirl in your body. Taking a moment to come back to that intention that you set earlier. Right, and then from that place of grounding down in intention and possibility, take another big breath in. And a big breath out. Inhale, reach the arms up. Press the palms together, right? Palms pressed together overhead, so right over the crown of your head, but then relax the shoulders from the ears. Draw the pelvis forward, and then from there, take a back bend. And then exhale, forward fold. Step your right leg back into a long runner's lunge. All right, lift from the right inner thigh, lift the belly off the thigh. Hands are just accessories here, right? So not a bunch of weight in the hands just yet. All right, big breath in, and then it's hands down, step back, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, roll it into a high plank pose. Lower knees, chest and chin. On your inhale, find cobra. On your exhale, find downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg high to the sky, and then step it into a long runner's lunge. Very nice. Inner thighs hug in even here. All right, feel that turn on, that awareness of the pelvic floor, finding stability through center line. Big breath in, step up top of the mat, big toe meets big toe. Arms reach out in front of you, rise up, back bend, and then hands lower down, heart center. Inhale, reach up, back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Step your left leg back, long runner's lunge. Huge inhale, step back down dog. Roll yourself into high plank, lower knees, chest and chin. On your inhale, find cobra. On your exhale, find downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg to the sky. Step into a long runner's lunge. Take a big breath in. forward fold, top of the mat. Arms reach out, rise up, back bend. Hands lower down to heart center. Very nice. Bend the knees right into a prayer twist, right? So left elbow to the outside of the right thigh, hips low, right? Really pushing the heart into the thumbs, thumbs back into the heart. Looking over that right shoulder, right? Like you're trying to find your right ear with your gaze, right? Very nice. Beautiful. All right, back into Utkatasana, releasing the twist, reaching the arms up, right? Dial the pinky fingers in towards one another, and then lower the hands back down to heart center. We'll take that twist now towards the left. Breathing deep. Lips stay gently closed. Relax that tension in the face. Looking over the left shoulder for 4, 3, 2, 1. Release to your forward fold. Very nice. Slowly, like a zombie, roll yourself up. Inhale, reach up, press the palms together, overhead. On your next inhale, let's hold a back bend for 5 breaths. Right, so as you look back, go back. Right, maybe you take that Kali Mudra, interlacing the fingers, index finger points straight back. Right, and then if you're exploiting your low back here, right, like there's a bunch of compression, think about drawing the pelvis forward, bringing that support from the earth up as we hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly release into your big counter fold. So you're gonna press your palms into your calves, allowing the forehead to get closer to the shins. Or maybe you wanna stand onto your fingers with your heels if you have a bit more mobility in the low back. And then you're gonna use the power of your arms if you're standing on your heels, or your heels are standing on your fingers, to pull down. Right, but as a rule, usually, at least in the classes I lead, is finding the up dog in the forward fold, right? So pushing the heart towards the shins and then surrendering the forehead from there, right? Not just rounding to start, right? Length and then surrender. Breathing for 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the calves or the heels. Slowly roll yourself up again. Inhale, reach up, find Tadasana. Press the palms together overhead. Another inhale and back bend, and then exhale, forward fold. Step your right leg back, long runner's lunge. Right hand down, left arm twists towards the ceiling. Right, or reaches towards the ceiling as the torso twists. Looking up towards that lifted thumb. Very nice. Right, and then from here, keeping that right palm rooted and keeping that right palm pressing down, right? Take a big inhale and then reach that left arm under the right armpit, reach towards that back corner of your body, holding the pose here just to feel what it's like to lift from the hips as you twist and rotate, and then inhale back to the sky. Maintain that height in the hips and that grounded feeling in your palm as you reach back under, and then we'll move on our breath. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, rotate it under. Very nice. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, rotate it under. Inhale, reach, lift, push. Exhale, rotate, extend, contract. Inhale, reach up, push, hold, and then turn this into a side plank. So you might want to move your right hand a little more towards center line in the mat, and then reach that left arm high towards the ceiling. Beautiful. If you want to modify, right, you can lower that right knee down. If you want to intensify, maybe you lift that left leg off, right? Breathing into this side plank, right? We had some requests for extended side plank. You never need my permission. You want to go extended? Go extended. Breathing here for 3, 2, listen carefully. Step back into that twisted runner's lunge. Very nice. And then back into your runner's lunge. Pull your heart forward, big inhale, and then step back, downward facing dog. From there, roll yourself into a high plank pose. Lower knees, chest and chin. On your inhale, cobra, and then on your exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg to the sky, bend the knee, open the hip. Right, stay here in that twisted dog, hands stay rooted, left heel disappears behind toes, heart shifts towards the left shin. Staying high there, or, right, flipping your dog, rolling up and over, All right, flipping your dog as you reach more towards the mat, less towards the front of the mat, more towards the actual mat, right? Finding that big front body opener. All right, if you're staying in that twisted dog like Katie is, really close the gap between the heart and the left big toe with every exhale. All right, if you're flipped, full wheel, or twisted, take 3 more breaths here in silence. And slowly begin to unflip the dog or re-extend the right leg if you stay twisted. And then step it into a long runner's lunge. Very nice. From that runner's lunge, take a big breath in, and then cross that left shin behind the right calf. Bring pinky toe to meet pinky toe. Very nice. And then you can walk the fingertips towards the back of the mat and let the forehead once more get close to the shin to intensify the pose. Right? Or add that side body stretch, walking your hands towards the right side of your mat, and then like you're pushing that center of your rib cage towards the top of your mat. Feel that big, strong lateral stretch in the side body there. All right, noticing where your neck is, right? Keep your neck long, almost like you're trying to sniff your left armpit if you're in the side body stretch. Right, I know that's a little bit weird. Awesome. If you're in the side body stretch, back towards that standard cross-legged, and then big toe meets big toe. All right, from there, arms reach out in front of you. Tuck the pelvis forward, keep the biceps close to the ears, and then rise up into your back bend. Hands lower down to heart center. Very nice. Inhale, reach it up, back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Step your left leg back, long runner's lunge, and then from here, we'll take the twist, right? So left hand stays down, right elbow leads the twist. Taking a few moments to really make sure that that right hip, right, especially in my practice, my right hip wants to sneak up towards the front of the mat. Can you tuck that right hip back in space, squaring the hips for a more integral rotation? Looking up towards that lifted thumb, take a big breath in, and then exhale, reach under, hold the reach here, just to feel what it's like to keep that left palm down, and to keep the hips raising up as you reach back. Inhale back to the sky, now moving on our breath. Exhale to reach under the body. Inhale back to the sky. Exhale, rotate and reach. Inhale back to the sky. Exhale, rotate and reach. And we got about 2 more, right? So move on your breath. You get the picture. You see what we're doing here. Finishing up that last round, right? Back into that twisted runner's lunge, and then turning it into a side plank pose. Taking your opportunities to go extended side plank, or modifying or intensifying how you need to, right? But let your breath really dictate what you need to do, right? If your breath is a little rapid right now, modify. If it's really easy to maintain that strong rhythm, intensify, right? Take 1 more big breath in, and then step back into that twisted runner's lunge. Very nice. From there, back into your runner's lunge. Huge inhale, step back down dog. Roll yourself into high plank pose, lower down knees, chest and chin. On your inhale, find cobra, and then on your exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg high to the sky, knee bends, hip opens, right? So Katie, you'll stay in that twisted dog, right? Just to demonstrate what it's like to push the heart back, to stay rooted and squared off in the chest. Right, and so what I'll do is just demonstrate that flip dog. High onto the ball of the right foot, rolling to the pinky edge of the foot, and then reaching up and over. Right, just becoming aware of where the breath is in your body. Right, if it seems to be more trapped up into the lungs and the throat, can you send it down deep into the belly, accessing that diaphragm? Right, to engage that parasympathetic nervous system, right, that rest and digest response, even in these difficult poses, right, unflipping the dog and re-extending the leg if you stay twisted, and then stepping into a long runner's lunge with that left foot forward. From there, take a big breath in, and then cross that pinky toe to meet the pinky toe. Right shin behind the left calf. Beautiful, all right, and then try not to hyperextend that right leg. Right? Keep that right knee slightly bent as you begin to either walk yourself into a deeper forward fold Or maybe you walk your fingertips, right, towards the left, and you add the side body stretch. Right, and whether your palms are rooted and you can drag your heart a little bit closer to the mat, or your fingertips are rooted, right, whatever's in the earth, feel energy push down through whatever's in the mat, whether it's the soles of your feet or your fingertips or entire palm. All right, stiffen that right armpit, breathe in for 3, 2, 1, slowly walk yourself back towards center. Big toe meets big toe, standard forward fold, top of the mat. From there, we'll slowly roll ourselves up like a zombie, drawing the shoulder blades back. Inhale, reach up, press the palms together overhead. Lower the hands down to heart center, elbows out wide, bend the knees. Let's take that second prayer twist to the right today. And maybe coming in a little deeper into it. All right, notice where my left knee is, right? It's jutted forward in front of my right. All right, keep the knees in line. Draw that knee back in space, looking up and over. Very nice, awesome. And then from here, look down towards the toes. And then keeping the knees connected, draw that left heel up towards the glute, balancing on that right leg. Very nice. Awesome. And then from there, turn it into a crescent lunge twist, stepping that left foot back, looking then over the right shoulder if you can maintain your balance. Twisting here, tucking that right hip under the body. Breathing for 3, 2, warrior 2. Spin that heel down, open up the chest. Very nice, powerful and rooted into the soles of the feet. From there, reach forward and then find side angle pose. Right, so if your right hand is down into the mat, make sure your left shoulder head is on top of it. Right, if your right hand is down, but your left shoulder is more towards the left side of your mat, right, I'd rather you come up onto your forearm or bring a block, right, to the mat, bring the earth up to you, right, and stay stacked in the shoulders, right? It should very much so feel like triangle pose. It's just the right knee has a 90-degree angle, right? So the hips and the shoulders, trying to keep them stacked. And then, yeah, if you got birds of paradise, binds, half binds, you want some things like that, go for things like that. Never need my permission to modify or intensify. Awesome. From your side angle into your lizard lunge. Spinning that left heel off the mat, and then hands drive under the shoulders. Think cat pose in the upper body here, especially with the pelvic floor and the abdominal lock, or that Uddiyana Bandha, right? We want to draw the belly button up towards the spine. All right, and then if you like, and you want to, right, maybe you want to lower down onto your forearms, right, allowing the elbows to travel under the shoulders, still maintaining your drishti, your gaze towards that front edge of your mat, or, right, close your eyes. All right, letting go of that distraction of sight and just tuning in more to the physical body if you close your eyes. All right, but that can be uncomfortable for some. All right, choose what resonates with you here today. If you want to, right, you can come into the arm balance or the bind, right, binding behind the right hamstring. And if you want, right, you can come into the arm balance, floating that right leg off the mat as you point the left toes back. Right, but I'll stay in a standard lizard lunge. Right, Katie demonstrating that forearm sphinx posture in her lizard lunge. A few more breaths here. If you haven't lowered your left knee down already, lower your left knee down. And then from here, toe heel your right foot to the edge of your mat, right? Allow your right big toe to be at a 2 o'clock angle. And then make sure your left hand is under your shoulder. Externally rotate that rooted left arm. You know I'm going to say it. And then take your right palm, push your right thigh away from you. Point your left toe straight back. And then from here, right, try not to just collapse into the shoulder. Right? Push energy down through the left hand. Push your heart in between your shoulder blades, pinching that imaginary pencil, right, in between your scapula there. Right? If you're itching for the quadricep stretch, by all means, you don't need my permission. Bend that left leg, reach back, and grab the outside edge of that left foot. So your right thumb is pointing upwards to keep the gateway of your shoulder open, and then you can add that quadricep stretch. I like to come down onto my forearm there, right? Get a stronger or bigger foundation with my forearm to pull, twist, and rotate at the same time. No matter which pose you're in, even if you never left that lizard lunge, you're in the right place. Just breathe and focus on that intention you set earlier. Take one more big breath in. If you took the quadricep stretch, slowly release. Slowly toe heel yourself back into a lizard lunge. Very nice. And then from that lizard lunge, right, take a big breath in and then back into your runner's lunge. Very nice. From your runner's lunge, standing needle top of the mat, left heel high, hands down under the shoulders. Soft little micro bend with that right knee. Try not to lock out that right knee. All right, lift up all 5 of those right toes and then turn the left toes towards the right side of your mat. All right, drawing that right hip under the body as you suck that left thigh bone up towards your hip socket. If you're taking balances, if you're taking handstand hops or presses, it's a great foundation for flight or deeper inversions here, so go for it if you need it. All right, but let's practice something here today. All right, moving away from the performance of the pose, whether you're alone in your house or maybe practicing with someone in your quarantine. Take one more big breath in, and then big toe, big toe. Very nice. Like a zombie, let's roll ourselves up. And then inhale, reach up, palms pressed together overhead. Lower hands down to heart center, elbows out wide. Bend the knees, and then let's even out that prayer twist to the left. Right elbow to the outside of the left thigh. Hips low, heart high, looking over that left shoulder. Right, maybe becoming aware of how the mind is already maybe 2, 3 poses ahead. Right, we were designed to do that, to get ahead of ourselves. Right, but can we upgrade that software here by paying attention to each breath, each moment, right, as it rests in this pose. Right, from there, look down, raise that right heel towards the glute, and then extend that right leg back into your crescent lunge twist, hugging the inner thighs in for that stability, right, connecting to that Mula Bandha, right, with every exhale, right, find that belly button towards the spine, and then here, stay long through the neck, don't let that right ear collapse to the shoulder, right, looking up and trying to find that left ear for 3, 2, 1, spin open, find warrior 2. Very nice, connected to the knife edge, that pinky toe edge of the right leg, right? It wants to lift off the mat, especially as we reach forward and find side angle, right? That right inner arch of the foot kind of wants to dominate the connection, right? But can you use that right quadricep, almost like you're pressing your femur or thigh bone into your hamstring? Can you feel that long line of connection that keeps the outside edge of your right foot rooted into the earth? 3. If your tricep and knee are connected because your hand's down, press that knee into the tricep, press that tricep back into the knee. Breathing here as you look up towards that lifted thumb for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lizard lunge, hands down, right heel spins off the mat. Right, finding that alignment that resonates with your body, but not rolling to the pinky toe edges of both feet, right? Inner thighs hug in. Maybe you want to floss into the hip a little bit by rocking back and forth onto the ball of the right foot. Right, finding that sweet spot, long through the neck. Right, lowering down to your forearms if you'd like. Finding, the bind behind the leg if you'd like. Finding the arm balance if you would like. Right, but again, something that keeps you in your body, focused on your breath, and resonating with your intention. Right? If going into a deeper pose just keeps you focused on how it looks or comparing yourself to a practice you did a few days ago, right? Come back into something a bit more sincere, right? Not something so competitive. 3, for just probably another 3 more breaths before we take it into the twisted variation. Slowly travel back onto your palms if you've lowered down to your forearms. Lower that right knee down to the mat. Point your right toe straight back. Angle that left foot to the edge of your mat. Right hand under the shoulder, left hand to the inner thigh if you're taking the twist, right? And then resist the urge to collapse into the wrist and shoulders by rotating, pushing, and twisting all simultaneously. Very nice, right? Energy is going to go where the attention's pointed to, right? So the attention of your drishti, of your gaze, right? Your body's going to follow it. So maybe you look back towards that, it would be right heel, before you grab it. And then keep looking over that left shoulder. Breathing here as we open up the hip flexor maybe, or staying in whichever lizard expression you need for your practice here today. All right, here we are for another 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly release that right leg if you grabbed it. Back into that strong lizard lunge. Then into a runner's lunge. Shifting weight into the left foot. Standing needle now top of the mat with the left foot rooted, the right heel lifted. The inner thighs are drawing in. Right, and then advancing from there, whether it's deeper balancing poses, challenging maybe the strength of your handstand or handstand hop. Right, and if you're working on handstand or you never have, maybe the handstand or the shoulders today and you just come high onto the ball of that left foot, right, and just play with what it's like to transfer a little bit more weight into the palms, right, visualizing over time as that slowly builds into a handstand. Here we are for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Big toe meets big toe. Very nice. Awesome. From there, slowly roll it up like a zombie or a puppet. And then draw the shoulder blades back. Inhale, reach the arms up. Find Tadasana. And then exhale, forward fold. From your forward fold, toe heel your feet, hips width distance apart. Right? Another good measurement to keep yourself honest if you're not quite aware of how wide your hips are, right? It's 2 fists in between the inner arches of your feet, right? That usually mirrors the set of your hips, right? So from that alignment, peace fingers, grab big toes. If you know where we're going, finger to toes, forward fold, go for it. If not, let's move into it with 3 breaths. Inhale, bend the knees, look forward, strong flat back, and then use your arms to exhale and forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, strong flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Last one before we hold the breath. Bend the knees, look forward, flat back, core engaged. And then exhale, elbows towards the front of the mat. Breathe into the back of the body here. Right, in these deeper forward folds, sometimes I find it useful to stay grounded by visualizing myself breathing with my spine. Right, as though each individual ridge of your spine had its own little dorsal hole. Right, can you breathe through center line? Allowing that visualization to keep you connected to your body. Right, and focused on the rhythm of your breath as you manage it. One respiration at a time. I take one more big complete inhale and exhale. And at the end of that exhale, release the big toes, hands into the mat, and then just kind of bend the knees side to side, right? Kind of exploring right hip and left hip. Awesome. And then from there, fanning the hands out, right? Really drive energy down through the fingertips. You can spider up onto your fingers here just to test that concept. And then from those spider fingers, lower down the knuckles, then lower down the base of the fingers, then lower down the heel of the palm. Notice there's that slight cupping in the center of the palm. Using that foundation of your whole entire hands to find Bakasana or crow pose. So maybe you come up high onto the balls of the feet, shifting weight forward as the knees travel to the back of the arms, anywhere between triceps and armpits. And then you can float your heels up towards your glutes. Right, very nice. Try and use that whole hand, right? Difficult to connect to the triad of the palm here, right? But still manageable, right? Move with that intention, right? Breathing here. If you want to come into tripods or different expressions from here, by all means, right? Tripod headstand, you would lower the crown of the head down. Try not to slam it down like I did, right? And then allowing the heels to eventually travel over the hips, right? From your tripod headstand, right? Maybe coming back into your crow, right? From your crow, everyone step or float through. Find that vinyasa. Very nice. Breathing deep. Beautiful. Awesome. So from here, right, take a big, massive breath in and a full breath out. Awesome. Inhale, right leg high to the sky. Step it into warrior one. Open into warrior two. Very nice. From warrior two, straighten your right leg out. Try not to lock that right knee out. You might need to walk that back foot in slightly. Hug the heels in towards one another. Feel that connection, right, to the perineum or pelvic floor area. And then from there, reach forward and find Trikonasana, shifting or just tipping that right hand down, right? So notice that there's very little weight in my right hand. I could float my right hand on my heart and it doesn't change the pose for me, right? So try and move to that level, right, of connection to that lateral left side of your body, right? Especially that lower back and hip. We want to draw that right rib cage under the left, right? Really just using that right hand to kind of test that. You could push the heart a little forward with your right hand, right? Basically what I'm trying to say is don't collapse a bunch of weight into the right hand, right? Stay active through the whole body here. Breathe. A few more breaths here in triangle. All right, from your triangle pose, stack the shoulders back over the hips, re-extend the arms like warrior two, and then point both sets of toes slightly towards one another as we set up for a wide-legged forward fold. So arms reach out in front of you. Very nice. From there, big reverse swan dive up with the arms. Press the palms together over the crown of your head. And then leading from the heart, not the forehead, reach the arms back out. Slow forward fold with that soft bend in your knees. Eventually meeting in your wide-legged forward fold variation of choice. So whether the fingertips walk in between the legs, right? Whether you grab maybe the pinky toe edges of the feet and pull the heart forward. Right, a lot of different options. You can keep the hands under your shins and maybe shift side to side if you want something a bit more flowy and dynamic today. All right, but again, take some ownership of your practice. Listen to your intuition and give yourself what you need. Yeah, and if you're like Katie right now, right, like shifting side to side, make sure that the pinky toe edges of the feet, like she's maintaining, stay in the mat, right? You don't just want to roll to the inner arches of the feet. All right, here we are, breathing for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly walk the hands back under the shoulders. And then from here, per request, we're going to transfer into goddess pose, right? But let's do so with alignment. So from here, tuck the pelvis forward, right belly button towards the spine. From there, angle the heels in towards one another. So the big toes right now are out at like 10 and 2 o'clock angles, right? Maybe 9 to 3 too if you can. From there, bring your hands to your hips, right? See if you can't bring that flat halfway lifted back to the upper body. And then from there, slowly rise up. Let's find goddess pose, right? So goddess pose, we're sinking into the hips, right? It's almost like a standing frog pose. You can bring goalpost arms, right, to the mat, right? You can interlace the fingers behind your head, and some of you like to drop your hands on your hips, right? But for right now on this side, right, if you're following us, let's take those goalpost arms, right? No Frankenstein fingers, right? Bring some energy through the fingertips, right? And then from here, sink low into it. Right, notice where the tailbone wants to go, right? My tailbone wants to travel towards Katie, right? But can I move my tailbone under the body, right, to strengthen my pelvis and my core?
Right? The answer is yes, I can, and yes, you can, right? It's just a matter maybe of a difficult choice. Breathing here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands come back to the hips. Extend through the legs, right? Feel that relief of the quads. And then point the right toes forward. Very nice. And then from there, step big toe into meet big toe. Awesome. Inhale, reach the arms up. And then exhale, forward fold. All right, very nice. Inhale, half lift. Hands lower down. Find that flow. Step or float through. Destination's downward facing dog. Very nice. Inhale, left leg to the sky. And then we'll step into warrior 1. Very nice. From warrior 1, we're open into warrior 2. All right, straightening out that left leg. Reach, 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 reach. Triangle pose. Right, like somebody grabbed your right wrist. Right, you can even visualize the adjustment. Right, as though an instructor or a friend grabbed your right wrist and pulled you up higher. Right, feel that levity from the right arm. And then with every exhale, try and get that left rib cage under the right. Right, stay long, neutral, and equal through the 4 sides of the neck. Right, don't let that left ear collapse to the shoulder. Right, breathing here as you stay rooted to the outside edge of the right foot. Heels hug in towards one another. Right, use your inner thighs to do so. Breathe. Slowly begin to stack your shoulders back over your hips. And then from here, we'll angle the big toes in towards one another once more. Very nice. From there, inhale, reach up. And then I'm going to interlace my hands behind my low back, right? If Katie wants to join me, she can. But if you want to take a different expression with your arms, right, go for it. But we haven't really dug into the shoulders today, so this makes sense to me. So interlace the hands behind the low back. Try and keep your palms together. Towel or a strap, right, is recommended if you're a bit more broad or tight in the shoulders. From there, like a rope is attached to your heart, and it's being cinched towards the sky, right? Bring that back, bend into the torso. With that soft bend into the knees. Exhale, forward fold. Bringing those bound arms up and over the head. Right, and for me here, it's difficult to keep my palms together, right? But it's still manageable, right? So embrace that difficulty, right? Try and keep the palms together. And then if that means your arms stay bent, maybe you kind of play around with that compromise. Breathe. Reverse namaste is also an option here. If you have an inversion, right? If you have a tripod headstand, if you have a classic Shirsasana or a headstand and you want to take that here, this would be sort of the option for your headstand in this 75-minute practice today, right? So either staying bound or coming into a handstand. Handstand, interlace the hands behind the head and then press the forearms into the earth, right? With that cup that you've created with your palms, rest the back of your head back into the palms and then high onto the balls of the feet, eventually beginning to bring the heels together over the hips, flexing or pointing the toes, right? But if I walked in front of you and asked you to lift up your head so I could slide a piece of paper under there, right? You have that much connection to your forearms, right? Far too often we collapse too much weight in the crown of the head, right? And like Ryder likes to say at OPY, we create those microfractures over time that really damage the spine, right? So if you're inverted in that classic Shirsasana, right? Maybe you close your eyes, you hang out, right? We're only here for just another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're in a deeper inversion, right? Reverse the flow that got you into it, right? Eventually meeting back into that halfway lift. And then from there, let's transition to goddess here on this side. So angle the heels in towards one another. Toes are out wide. We're not gripping the mat with our toes. And then bring the hands to the hips. Hold that halfway lift for a moment. Awesome. And then like somebody had a rope attached to your groin. And that rope was being pulled towards the left side of your mat. Stack your shoulders over your hips. Very nice. Awesome. And then what we'll do here, right, again, we requested obliques, we requested side body focus here today. We'll interlace the fingers behind the head,
Very nice. Elbows stay out wide. Take a big breath in, and then bring your right elbow to tap your left thigh. And then bring your left elbow to tap your left thigh. And then keep ticking and tocking side to side, moving at the speed of your breath, not moving to get reps in. Right? And feel not only the strength being stoked in the side that's contracting, but the length being created in the side that's kind of towards the sky when you bend, right? So, opposing forces here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very nice goalpost arms. Take a big breath in, and then extend the legs out, right? Feel that relief. Right, left toes point straight forward. Step big toe into meet big toe. Very nice. Maybe shake out that sequence. All right, a lot of standing power so far today. Inhale, reach the arms up, find Tadasana. And then exhale, forward fold. Very nice. From there, step it back into a high plank pose. From your high plank pose, lower down knees, chest, chin. Very nice. From there, pull yourself into a cobra. Very nice. From there, child's pose. Knees out wide or knees together. Right? Knees together allows for a little bit more lower back release. Knees out wide, a little bit more hip focused. And then just take a moment here in child's pose, whether this is your first of the practice or the second time you've arrived or your 10th time. Use this child pose as a moment to practice rest and doing nothing. Right? If you're anything like me, this new current pandemic situation that we find ourselves in, I'm being confronted with how difficult it is to do nothing. All right, so in these moments in my practice and in maybe your practice, we can sort of experiment with what it's like to do nothing. To drop back and just observe whatever shows up in stillness and to be with it. Right? Not to judge it, fix it, create a to-do list around it. Just to take a moment with kindness to smile to the fact that you're struggling. Right? And to honor the fact that you're showing up regardless. One more deep breath here in this child's pose. And then a big exhale. Awesome. From there, slowly begin to walk the hands back towards the hips. If your knees are out wide like mine, walk your knees back to hips width distance apart or 2 fists width distance as we set up for camel pose or Ustrasana. All right, so camel pose, we'll bring our hands to our lower back. We're gonna pinch, right, that imaginary yoga block with our elbows, right? Don't let the elbows fall away from one another. Pinch the elbows in order to push the heart higher from a strong foundation of the shelf of your palms, right? So come into that Ustrasana, come into that camel. Right, really feeling that heart opening. Right, really cool pose to kind of devote to something outside of yourself. Right, whether that's gratitude, maybe like the dog, the cat, the kid. Right, really kind of stepping outside of yourself here with this big, wide open, vulnerable front body expression. If you're reaching back and grabbing the heels, reach back, grab them. Right, push the heart higher, drop the head back, slight underbite in the chin if you're doing that. Breathe in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently release, coming back into a tabletop pose. Very nice from tabletop pose. Let's take some cats and cows. Right, moving in whichever way you need to. Right, pressing, arching, rounding. Inhale and dropping the belly. Right, and being creative with it, right? Like maybe it's the side body sway. Maybe it's the circles around the wrists. Right, maybe you spider up onto your finger pads like an angry cat. Right, just kind of move in whichever way allows you to experience the mobility that you're creating over a practice. Very nice. Slowly back to tabletop pose. Tuck the toes under. Downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, inhale, right leg to the sky. Bend the knee, open the hip. Second opportunity for fallen triangle, bringing the right knee to the left elbow, extending, pushing, lifting. Right, maybe observing the difference between this fallen triangle that we started practice with, right, and the one that you're in right now. Right, lead from the heart and groin, open up as you look up. And then listen carefully, left hand roots back down into the earth, and then we'll slowly drag that right knee behind the right wrist, coming into half pigeon here, or double pigeon if that's in your practice. All right, but pressing down through that right shin, left toes point straight back. Right, and then leading from your heart, release into your half or double pigeon. All right, so Katie will stay in half pigeon pose just to demonstrate that, pointing the left toes straight back, keeping the hips square, and surrendering over an engaged mid leg. All right, if you're working on double pigeon, right, from your half pigeon, bring your left knee behind your right calf, and then rest onto your hips, or kind of sit back onto your hips. And then from there, right, stack your right shin on top of your left shin, and then flex your toes towards your shins, right? And then from there, with your left or your right ankle over the left knee to prevent the sickling of your ankle, slowly walk yourself deeper into your double pigeon. All right, another opportunity just to observe here. All right, and moving away from the judgment, moving away from the evaluation. All right, can you just allow yourself with awareness and kind curiosity to identify and note whatever's showing up here? All right, what sort of habits of mind are coming about in this hip focused work? Right, and from that place of inquiry, knowing that what shows up here today could have been different than what showed up yesterday. Right, can you allow yourself just to be with it? Maybe to smile towards it with that soft smile, and then to focus on the rhythm of your breath as it relates to whatever shows up. Potentially observing that with the lips closed and the nose and belly driving the breath, right, that your mindset to whatever's showing up on the mat right now might shift. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Just pay attention. Keep showing up. Slowly begin to walk the hands back towards the hips, right? If you're in that double pigeon like I am, cross the ankles under you, hands into the mat, step back through a vinyasa, right? If you're like Katie, maybe you just tuck the left toes under, right, and inhale it up, whatever you want to do, right? We'll eventually meet back in downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, recommit to those strong alignment cues, right? I've said them enough, you should know them now, right? Inhale, left leg to the sky. Second opportunity to fall that triangle over with the left leg extended and the heart reaching up. All right, bringing some awareness to your face, even here, right? Can you soften the face? If you've been taking this practice really seriously, right? Can you shift towards sincerity, right? Can you smile? Can you make a goofy face? Right? Can you let go of that rigidity? Right, lowering that right hand down into the mat. Bring that left knee to the left wrist. Setting up for half pigeon here as you point the right toe straight back. All right, very nice. And then either you lead from the heart, you walk yourself forward into half pigeon like Katie will, or you work on double pigeon here by swinging or by dragging that right knee behind the left calf and then rolling onto your hips, stacking now the left shin on top of the right. Right, and then make sure that that left ankle, right, is hanging off of the right thigh. If it's the inside of the right thigh, right, the ankle kind of sickles, right, wrinkles come into that inner ankle. We want to keep that ankle neutral, right, because the ankle mirrors the knee, right, and we want both of those to be in really nice alignment, especially in double pigeon. Breathe. Another opportunity here. And just to allow yourself to kind of walk into the laboratory of this pose. Right, shifting towards that superpower of curiosity. Right, asking yourself with kindness, like, what's showing up here? Right, moving away from maybe that more aggressive, inquisitive tone of like, how can I fix whatever's showing up here? Like, when is this going to leave, right? Away from that curiosity, towards a kind compassion that keeps you rooted in possibility. Right, what can I do here? And slowly begin to walk the hands back towards the hips. And then whichever pose you've chosen, right? Katie's going to swing onto the left hip and swing both legs forward, right? And if you're in that double pigeon with me, you can just undo them. Stack. Just kind of flutter your legs. We'll inhale, reach it up. And then we'll exhale, forward fold. Paschimottanasana. Just a quick one, right? Slight halfway lift on your next inhale. And then exhale, forward fold. Slowly walk the hands back up the shins. And then from here, you can take reverse tabletop. I'm kind of nursing a knee injury, so I'm not going to demonstrate that reverse tabletop. Or you can just allow yourself to stay rooted into the hips and take that kind of reverse heart opener, like a seated Ustrasana. Very nice. Or a reverse tabletop, right? I can demonstrate that for you. I can push the hips up. Just a little counter opening to that Paschimottanasana. All right, once you're done with that counter opening, extend the legs back out, draw the knees or draw the groin towards the heels, and then roll onto your back a few times. All right, once you've arrived onto your back, all right, stir the thighs around a little bit. Beautiful. We'll allow the feet to drop to the edges of the mat as the knees knock in towards one another. And then with goalpost arms, just windshield wiper the legs side to side. If you drop your knees towards one side and you want to hold it, if you have a classic supine twist you want to take, right, whichever sort of lying down twist that you want to take, go for it. Right, but I like this windshield wiper. Awesome. And then from there, draw both knees into your chest. Grab opposite elbows around your shins. Create that tight little yoga ball. Very nice. Take a big breath in. And then release into your Supta Baddha Konasana or Shavasana. Okay, you'll take Shavasana. And I'll take Supta Baddha Konasana. Supta Baddha, soles of your feet together. I recommend one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. If you're in Shavasana, you're just allowing that full surrender, right? That complete starfish of the body as you just lie out onto the earth. And then whichever pose you've chosen, can you let go of that management of breath? Can you allow just that natural cadence of breath to show back up? Right, can you take a moment before we drop into still observation just to honor the fact that you've done what you've done so far? Right, and then from that place of self-worth that motivated you to show up, can we now drop back into observation? You don't need to control any thought. You don't need to focus on your intention. You don't need to be peaceful. Right now, can you just drop back behind the veil of awareness? Being with whatever shows up, riding whatever waves show up. Right, and just embracing whatever experience is on the mat for you. Especially if it's a difficult one, right? Stay with it. have longer and you can give yourself a more prolonged Shavasana or Supta or final resting pose, please give yourself that. Right, to respect the period of time that we offered here today, if you're in that camp, maybe slowly start to deepen the breath, wiggle fingers and toes, allowing any awareness that may have been stoked in that period of observation to stay with and resonate in the body as you deepen that breath. Right, from there, finding fetal pose, rocking to your right or left side, so I'll rock to my left. Right, using that arm that's under you in fetal pose as a little pillow. Taking a moment here and just feeling which parts of your body are connected to the earth, feeling really grounded. Right, and then from that feeling of groundedness, slowly pressing yourself up into a cross-legged seated position facing the top of your mat. Legs crossed our belly. Alright, I personally prefer one hand on my heart, one hand on top of that, and allowing my elbows to fall to my side. But that's just me, right? Wherever your hands want to be, let them be. Allowing the chin to slightly stack under the crown of the head. Alright, maybe taking a moment here, even in this circumstance of isolation we find ourselves in, to connect to the fact that you just practiced with a number of people. Right? Connecting to that sense of community and belonging, even in these periods of isolation and distance. Right, and then from that place, thumbs rise to forehead center, forever grateful for the practice, the community, and everyone that joined us online, and everyone who will watch this. We all have the opportunity to say, Namaste. Awesome. So thanks for joining us. Kelly Sin, who's the owner of Orlando Power Yoga, I think has done such an amazing job at creating a community here in Orlando that's spread nationally, if not globally. And so, you know, to support those efforts that she's made over the last 10 plus years, reach out to her on Venmo so we can keep the lights on at Orlando Power Yoga, and just keep this really awesome community that she's created over the last decade plus going. I trust that it will continue, but it won't without your support. So it was an honor to represent the community here online, honor to practice with my wife, who I actually met at Orlando Power Yoga when we were both students. I wasn't teaching then. So yeah, shelter in, shelter on, and we'll keep practicing. So thanks for joining us.